Casey Middlestat in 20 minutes. We'll have Clinton Portis at 9 o'clock this morning. I got a question for you guys. We're officially in the throes of the offseason, okay? So there's no NBA season and no NHL. NFL training camp is still a few weeks away.
About a month.
We're in the middle of baseball season.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a team that is already basically mathematically eliminated from the postseason.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
You guys can tell me if you think I'm wrong here. I got what I consider to be the three biggest offseason stories for the Denver sports franchises, okay? Now, I have one that barely missed the cut for the three, but I'm going to do these in order of the way that I see it by importance. This is what I have. The number one question of the offseason to me is, what happens with Val Nichushkin? Because that is not just a one-year proposition. His contract is through 2030. If you decide to eat the contract, that is going to affect things for the next 6 years. If you decide to bring him back, how does the team respond? It's going to affect championship implications for a while, whatever decision's made. That's the number one story to me of this Denver sports offseason.
Let me agree with you. I think you're absolutely right about that. As we sit right now of the importance to a franchise, blah, 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 yeah. What's number two?
The number two story to me is, it's kind of a two-parter. Will KCP come back? If not, what's the decision of substance that's made for the Nuggets this offseason?
Vic, I don't know about you.
Because these two, the reason they're the top two is because these two teams could be competing for championships next year. That takes precedence.
I have serious worry about KCP now.
I said from the get-go.
I have serious worry. I'm going to lean that we're going to be looking for another guard. I'm going to lean that direction.
June 29th is when he makes the decision to opt out. I think we all know he's going to opt out. I said before the process started, right after the season, I said the chances are likely that the Nuggets will have to part ways with KCP. Not that they want to, but somebody's going to make an offer that is going to paint the Nuggets into a corner. And I don't think they want to be painted into that corner financially. It'll put them in handcuffs for what other things they may do. I would be surprised at this rate if KCP returns. If there's any KCP news before, what's today? The 26th?
Mm-hmm.
What's today?
26th.
So the 29th is that date. If there's any news between now and the end of the month, it's that KCP rejoins the Nuggets. The fact that there's no news pretty much tells you what's taking place.
It has me worried.
So number one, Val. Number two, KCP. Number three, can Bo Nix prove in year one that he's worth the investment? Doesn't mean he needs to be great. Doesn't mean the Broncos need to win, 11 games. But can he give you enough to say, you know what, the investment's worth it. I like the choice. That's the third one to me. The honorable mention one that just missed the cut is Dion in year two and what happens there. But would you guys agree or disagree? Those are the top three stories of the Denver sports offseason.
I think you've absolutely nailed it. And the question is not whether or not Bo Nix is going to start, because he is. The question is, do we see enough in his game this season, his first year in the National Football League, to say, okay, the Broncos got themselves a guy. He doesn't have to be the man right now, but just enough to say, okay, they got a guy, and now let's go on. Let's get that money off the cap, the Russ money gone, and let's get this thing going.
That's the thing, dude. It's so weird with the Nuggets and the KCP scenario, because you have to have so many different versions of what you want to do. Here's version one. KCP resigns. Here's the list of guys we're looking at. Here's who we want to draft. Version number two. KCP goes. We need to thrust a starter into the lineup. Do we have one on the roster? Do we have to go get one? You got three different scenarios of what you want to do. It's hard. It's hard to work that way, right? I mean, I'm sure the Nuggets would want to know right now, like not at the end of the month. Right now, are they going to get KCP or not?
Yeah.
And the more they say no, the more it's not happening. I think we know the answer to that question.
I just for some reason, Brett, I've got a hankering that he's gone. I think somebody, listen, he's not going to opt in. He's not going to opt in. So that means he's going to be free. Somebody is going to pay him so much money that the Nuggets simply can't do it. That's what's going to happen.
So that
Yeah, why
opt-in
would
is
he?
sort of a
Yeah.
foregone. Yeah, like why would you do that?
Correct. So I'm going to pretend like he's gone and it's going to hurt me, but I'm going to have to do it. I'm sorry. So anyway, those are the three biggest. Coach Prime, I think, is the next. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I was just thinking about this, by the way. So Prime, at least for my top three, most important stories of the Denver offseason. So 1 Val, 2 KCP, 3 Bo Nix, and if he can prove he's worth the investment. So I had Dion just on the outside looking in. Is Dion, and this is rare to say because this almost never lines up, is he as big, if not bigger, of a national story than a local one?
I think he's just as big nationally. You're exactly right. The national
That's
types
weird.
are talking Dion almost as much, if not more, than we are. No, you're exactly right. But there's always something. Remember how when I said, how much is too much?
Mm-hmm.
It's a question you need to ask yourself. Anytime you talk CU football, ask yourself this question. How much is too much? Nelly, what's the latest soap opera coming out of there? Every other day it's a soap opera, right, guys? Every other day we get something.
Yep.
What is it now?
I saw this interaction on Twitter. Let me see this. This is Quincy Avery.
He's been a pretty notorious Dion hater since he took over.
Who is Quincy Avery? Excuse my ignorance.
I actually don't know. Brett, do you know who he is off the top of your head?
I thought I did. So he's a quarterback coach, and he's got a quarterback sort of like camp thing. One of those guys.
So there was a tweet from @On3Sports that had a quote from Dion where he said, "I'm a leader of men, not a follower of men. I'm a father, not a baby daddy. I lead my sons. I don't follow my sons. My sons, Travis included, are getting ready to migrate to the NFL." So Quincy Avery said, "On the bright side, if he thinks you are good enough, he will also consider you one of his sons." Then Deion Sanders Jr. quoted that and said, "You really be made."
Mm-hmm.
And Quincy replied to that by saying, "Man's a junior getting treated like a stepson all because he couldn't backpedal. Damn shame."
Yep.
Jesus.
That
pretty intense.
escalated quickly.
What's a B made?
Russ.
He as in short for,
Right.
Russ made.
Female dog.
Yeah. Oh, you're asking what the actual word is?
But what's B made? What's B made?
Female dog
I mean,
He's
made.
calling you a wuss is what he's doing.
I understand, but I understand what the part is, but what is made afterwards supposed to be?
I don't know. It's probably something too cool for me to understand.
It's you.
Vic, if you don't know, I can't explain it to you.
Yep. It's exactly right. It's like
Okay,
when somebody asks you, describe the color red. You're like, it's red. If you
by
don't
the
know
way,
what red
he's-
is, I can't help you.
Mosher-
I can't describe red. It's red.
What color golf ball were you using, Mosier, that I could never see?
Red.
It was one of my wife's red balls. Yeah.
Why were you using a red golf ball on Castle Pines?
Because I lost all of my Bridgestones. I only had a sleeve of Bridgies, and I lost them all.
Do you know how torturous that was for me to try to see where your ball
You
is?
don't, I don't need you to see my ball. See your own ball.
I'm trying to follow your ball, and I couldn't follow your ball.
It is hard to see. Honestly,
is.
when I play golf with my wife, and she likes the red ball, the pink ball, the whatever you call it, right?
Sure.
And she smokes it, but then sometimes it gets in that thick stuff, and it's hard to see because it's hard.
We're going to have Casey Middlestad on the show here in hopefully about 5 minutes, so stay tuned for that.
By the way, I'm excited about this.
Is there anything I missed, though?
I'm happy.
Before we get to Casey, is there anything that you think I missed about the Denver offseason that is a big story that did not make the cut for me?
No, you hit all the sports. The Rockies are in season right now, so that's not going to make any sense to think about anything with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still keeping an eye on them. They're 22 games out right now. 22. Oh, God bless America. Are they the worst team in baseball right now? I'd have to look. It's on a daily basis. It's them, Miami, or the A's or Chicago.
Well,
no, the White Sox are still the worst team in baseball. Thank God.
As you do that, is there anything – how about this? Is there anything about Sean Payton that you find to be a big story going into this year? Like what's weird is
relatively quiet.
It's a pretty quiet and low expectation season for him, so it's hard to really make a judgment outside of just quarterback development, right?
Orphan
Yeah,
dogs.
there's much more buzz. How would he fit in with Russ? How would the team do under Sean Payton? He's closing things down for the media. He's talking to a reporter, Jared Bell from USA Today, and throwing haymakers at other people. What is going on? None of that's taking place this year.
Yeah, if I had a story for him, I don't know what it is outside of just like it's hand in hand with the Bo Nix thing. Like, can he prove that, first of all, your decision was correct, and second of all, can you develop him into somebody who works? So we can jump back to this a little bit later. I want to make time here for Casey Middlestat, the fresh off the 3-year extension signing with the Avs. We'll talk to the second line center for the Avs next.